be focusing on. Now in this lecture, we are going to be seeing about the different pathologies in chest. So the basic. So the basic things we are going to learn about are the consolidation, nodule, mass, and interstitial opacities and collapse. So even in this picture, we can see the different typical features of the different pathologies. So this upper one is the consolidation. So how do we identify the consolidation? It appears as inhomogeneous opacity, and we can see the presence of air bronchogram. It is usually ill-defined in appearance. So this is the here we can see the presence of the air bronchogram. So patent bronchi can be seen going into the opacity. So this is the air bronchogram. This is the typical feature of consolidation. Nodule. Nodule is more or less rounded opacity, and it is smaller than 3 centimeter, less than 3 centimeter. While mass is similar rounded opacity, which is more than 3 centimeter. Okay, and others are the interstitial opacities. So the we all know from our anatomy days that the lung is composed of, there are multiple alveoli in the lung. So the supporting structures around the airway, supporting structures are the interstitium. So these, if there is any pathology in the interstitium, then they appear as linear opacities, or if there are multiple linear, they appear as net-like, which is called reticular, net-like. And where they coalesce, there may form nodules. When there is formation of nodules at the intersection of the linear opacities, this is called the reticonodular opacities. So interstitial opacities may be of three types. One is the linear opacities, reticular opacities, and reticulonodular opacities. Okay, next is atelectasis. This is the term used for collapse of the lung. Atelectasis means loss of volume. The volume of the lung will be decreased. It also appears as opacity of the lung. Okay, we can see that here is the opacity of the lung, opacity, but it is devoid of the air bronchogram. It is sharp. It has sharp margins, while the consolidation it has floppy margins. So these two might be confusing between consolidation and atelectasis. So coming to the consolidation, consolidation is any focal process that fills the alveoli with fluid, pus, blood, or cells, including tumor cells, and or other substances, resulting in lobar, diffuse, or multifocal ill-defined opacities. So we should remember that there is not only fluid or pus filling; it may be blood in case of trauma, or cells in case of tumor that may fill the alveoli, and this appears as consolidation. Consolidation. Next is interstitial opacities. Involvement of the supporting tissue of the lung parenchyma resulting in fine or coarse reticular opacities or small nodules or reticulonodular opacities. This is the interstitial pattern of opacities. Next is nodule. Any space occupying lesion, either solitary or multiple. Any space occupying lesion that are usually more or less rounded in shape. Then those are called nodule or mass. And atelectasis is the collapse of part of lung due to a decrease in the amount of air in the alveoli, resulting in volume loss and increased density. There is volume loss and increased density means presence of opacity. So these are the typical features of different patterns. So coming to the consolidation, so consolidation is usually the replacement of air in the alveoli by transudate pus, blood, cells, or other substances. So the key findings in the X-ray of consolidation are ill-defined and inhomogeneous. Sorry, this is not homogeneous. This is a mistake. Inhomogeneous opacity obscuring the vessels. Vessels are obscured, but bronchi are seen. This bronchi, when they are seen, that is called the air bronchogram. Next is the Sillaud sign. We have already discussed the Sillaud sign in the previous presentation. That is seen in consolidation. Extension to the pleura or fissure, but not crossing it. Usually consolidation is usually lower. If there is lower consolidation, then the lesion is it extends to the pleura and fissures, but does not cross. But in case of the mass, so the mass they don't follow the boundary of the fissure. The mass they cross the fissures. So this way we can separate consolidation from mass. And there is no volume loss. If there is volume loss, then that is collapse. Okay, these are the features of consolidation. So coming to this picture, we can see there is opacity, which is ill-defined fluffy opacities in the left lung, the left middle and the lower zone of the lung, and we can see the presence of patent bronchi within. These are the air bronchograms, and this presence of air bronchograms is the hallmark of consolidation. It means if you see air bronchogram, then you should call it consolidation. Fissural limitation and no volume loss. So we can see that there is the consolidation involving the right upper and middle zone, and we can see it is limited by the fissure. So this is the horizontal fissure. It has not crossed the fissure, and there is no volume loss. If there was volume loss, then the fissure would be shifted upwards, but there is no volume loss. So this is a feature of consolidation. So consolidation may be the different patterns of different types of consolidation can be divided according to the content in the alveoli. So if there is water in the alveoli, it may be because of the heart failure, acute respiratory distress syndrome. Okay, if there is pus, it is due to the pneumonia. If there is blood, it is usually due to the trauma or vasculitis, which may cause pulmonary hemorrhage. If there are cells inside the consolidation, it is usually due to bronchoalveolar carcinoma. So I'm not saying all these differential because you need to remember the most important ones only. If there is okay, and the patterns of consolidation can also be divided according to the pattern. If it is diffuse, okay, then it is usually due to heart failure, renal failure, ARDS, or if it is multiple, then it is usually due to bronchopneumonia. If it is multiple, it is bronchopneumonia. The organism has spread from the bronchi and gone to multiple areas of the lung. It is called bronchopneumonia, or it may be due to septic emboli, okay, embolism, the blood vessels. They have spread the infection. That is called the septic embolism, usually seen in case of the infective endocarditis. Septic embolism. If it is lower, it is usually due to lower pneumonia. Okay, and if it is bat wing pattern, like the consolidation, which is around the hila, forming the bat wing like appearance. If it is around the hila and peripheral parts are spared, then you should remember that it is usually due to the pulmonary edema or heart failure. Heart failure leading to pulmonary edema, bat wing opacity. If it is reverse bat wing, it is usually due to the if it is reverse bat wing, you should remember ARDS. Okay, ARDS. I'm just naming the most important causes. So which I have mentioned, these are the most important causes. If you want to remember others, those may also be okay, but you should remember these things. So we can see in this picture there are multiple consolidations. So we can see in the right upper and middle zone, we can see the presence of inhomogeneous fluffy opacities with presence of air bronchograms. So this is consolidation. Similar opacity can also be seen in the right lower zone. So this is the areas of multifocal consolidation, and probably this could be first thing to remember in multifocal consolidation is bronchopneumonia, bronchopneumonia. This is lobar consolidation. Lobar consolidation usually in lobar pneumonia. It is involving a whole of the lobe, so long. So it is here. It is involving the upper lobe. So this is the lobar pneumonia. And if we consolidation may be observed in case of trauma. So if there is consolidation in case of trauma, then that is not infective. It is lung contusion. So the diagnosis depends upon the clinical history also. So here you can see fluffy ill-defined opacities in the right middle zone, upper and middle zone, and this ill-defined opacity is associated with refractures. So this is a lung contusion. So sometimes consolidation is mimicked by certain structures like thymus. So there, in case of a child, if we see a triangular opacity in the superior mediastinum, then we should suspect that this is thymus, and it is giving a sail sign. So we know that the sail of a boat, it appears like this. Okay, sail. So this is also sail like opacity. This is seen in case of thymus, which is normal. So we should not be confused with consolidation or any mass. So next topic is atelectasis or lung collapse. It is the result of loss of air in the lung or part of the lung with subsequent volume loss due to airway obstruction or compression of the lung by pleural fluid or pneumothorax. So it could be due to airway obstruction or compression usually. So there are other types of collapse also, but we should remember these two types. These are the either due to airway obstruction. So sometimes if there is obstruction in the airway, then the part of the lung is not aerated, so it becomes small, volume will be lost. Or it may be, if there is effusion or mass, then that may compress upon the lung. So key findings are sharply, so it should be sharply defined opacities, while we remember that consolidation are ill-defined and inhomogeneous. Collapse is usually sharp opacity obscuring vessels without air. Consolidation has air program. Collapse has no air program. And volume loss, features of volume loss will be present. Always you should look for features of volume loss. So volume loss, features of volume loss differentiates the consolidation from collapse. Features of volume loss means shifting of the diaphragm, fissures, hila, and mediastinum. I'll show this. So what we should know is that in the right lung there are two fissures. One is horizontal fissure and another is oblique fissure. So horizontal fissure extends from the hilum to the lateral. So it is usually like this horizontal. In oblique fissure, it is extending like this. Okay. So above the horizontal fissure, the most part of the lung is the upper lobe. So, but in this image, we can see that there is opacity in the right upper zone. So this opacity is devoid of air bronchograms. Okay, and there is sharp lower margin. The lower margin of the opacity is sharp, and this sharp margin is due to the shifting of the fissure. So these are features of volume loss. So these three features tell us that this is the lung collapse. So once again, the reason is there is opacity in the right upper zone with sharp lower margin, devoid of air bronchogram, and is associated with shifting of the fissure. So this is case of the right upper lobe collapse. So similar picture of the right upper lobe collapse. And here also we can see there is sharp defined triangular opacity, sharply defined triangular opacity in the right middle and lower zone. Sharply defined triangular opacity in the right middle and lower zone, and it has also no air bronchogram. So this is also the right middle lobe collapse. So the horizontal fissure should be like this, but it has shifted downwards. It is now concave downwards here. So there is shifting of fissure. So this is the case of right middle lobe collapse. So coming to the next topic, that is the nodule and mass. Nodules are more or less rounded opacity in the lungs with size up to 3 centimeters. So if they are less than 3 centimeters, they are nodules. If they are more than 3 centimeters, they are masses. So nodules and masses. Nodules may be due to different pathologies. They may be due to granulomatous cause like fungal infection or lung carcinoma, metastasis, or pulmonary hematoma, benign cause of the pulmonary nodule. Or they may be, if they are more than 3 centimeters, they are usually due to the lung carcinoma. You should remember this lung carcinoma. Other causes may be granulomatous masses also. If there are multiple masses and nodules, then we should suspect. Similarly, fungal infection or septic emboli or metastasis. So we should always remember if there are multiple masses, multiple nodules and masses, the first differential should be metastasis. Okay, and it may also be seen in sarcoidosis, venous granulomatosis, alveolar carcinoma, rheumatoid arthritis, rheumatoid nodules may be present. So in this case, we can see there are multiple nodules in both the lungs. So coming to the differentials, it could be the first differential that we should come to the mind is metastasis. If we see such nodules, this was also a case of metastasis with cannonball nodules. And other differentials are fungal infection, tuberculosis may also be present with such nodules. Septic emboli also present with multiple nodules, but they are usually associated with hazy peripheral opacities, haziness around them. So this was a case of metastasis. So mass, if it is more than 3 centimeters, then we should call it mass. So this was also more than 3 centimeters, and this was a case of bronchogenic carcinoma, lung carcinoma. So pleural fluid, it takes about 200 to 300 ml of fluid before it becomes visible on chest X-ray. So it is almost the volume of the small Coke bottle. It is almost 2 to 300 ml. About 5 liters of pleural fluid are present when there is total opacification of the hemithorax. So when they are just visible, it is almost 203 ml. And when it is almost completely opacifying the lung, then it is 5 liters. So usually the effusion, they also appear as homogeneous because of the fluid. They usually appear as homogeneous opacity, and they are crescentic in outline. So you can see crescent sign is present in the effusion. This is like the crescent. Okay. So we can see there is how we describe this chest X-ray. We can see that there is obliteration of the costophilic angles. So from the last lecture, we know that the costophilic angle should always be acute. It should be less than 90 degrees. So here we can see it is less than 90 degrees, but here we can see it is more than 90 degrees. Sorry, it is more than 90 degrees like this. Okay. So, and we can say that there is obliteration of the left costophilic angle with crescentic shape opacity in the left lower zone. So it is a case of left pleural effusion. Here we can see massively opacified right lung. It is devoid of air bronchogram. So this is a massive right pleural effusion. We can also see there are multiple nodular opacities in the left lung as well. So this might represent a consolidation or. So coming to the next topic, that is pneumothorax. So pneumothorax is the presence of air in the pleural cavity. It is useful to divide pneumothorax into 3 categories. One is primary or spontaneous pneumothorax, when there is no underlying lung disease. Secondly, spontaneous pneumothorax, when there is underlying lung disease like cyst, bulla, which may rupture and cause pneumothorax. And next is iatrogenic or traumatic pneumothorax. So spontaneous pneumothorax is usually due to rupture of the subpleural valve. The valve is the cystic structure usually in the lungs, and it may rupture causing spontaneous pneumothorax, or it may be due to the, if it is it may sometimes the pneumothorax may be associated with the underlying lung disease like COPD. The emphysema bulla may be, emphysematous bulla may be present, which may rupture causing pneumothorax. Asthma may also cause pneumothorax, and sometimes lung cysts, cystic disease of the lung may also cause pneumothorax. So cystic disease of the lung, if they ask you names, if you may remember these 2 names. One is the lymphangioliomyomatosis and Langerhans cysticercosis. So anyways, you should remember that the lungs, the pneumothorax may be spontaneous or may be associated with lung disease, and usually the it is due to rupture of the cystic or air-filled structures inside the lung, and it may also be due to trauma or iatrogenic causes. So when we do lung biopsy, when central line is kept, it may pierce the pleura, or after mechanical ventilation, the air may escape and cause the pneumothorax. So the features of pneumothorax are: there is visible visceral pleural edge. So we know that the pleura is composed of two layers. One is the parietal pleura, and next is the visceral pleura. So air is present in between these structures. So we may be able to visualize the visceral pleura in case of the pneumothorax. No long markings are seen peripheral to this line. So peripheral to the visceral pleural line, long markings should not be visible. Peripheral space is radiolucent compared to the adjacent lung. Lung may collapse, so it may cause compression upon the adjacent lung, and lung may collapse. And mediastinum should not shift away from the pneumothorax unless a tension pneumothorax is present. Okay. So we can see in this chest X-ray of the right hemithorax. So we can see that there is presence of peripheral lucent area. So peripherally there is devoid of the air bronchovascular markings. So these are the bronchovascular markings. So it is not seen in the periphery. And we can also appreciate the presence of the visceral pleural line. So this is a case of right-sided pneumothorax. So in this X-ray also we can see that the left lung, left lung appears lucent, more lucent than the right side. We cannot see the air bronchovascular marking, so we can trace the bronchovascular marking here, okay, here also, but we can trace the bronchovascular marking here. It is devoid of the bronchovascular markings. So this was a case of left-sided pneumothorax. Though we don't appreciate the visceral pleural line because whole of the lung is collapsed and is abutting the mediastinum here. It is adjacent to the mediastinum. So this is the massive left pneumothorax. So coming to the next topic, that is a short topic, that is I'm going to discuss only some radiological features of tuberculosis. So tuberculosis, it could be primary or post-primary TB. And primary TB is usually silent, and in almost 5% of the infected individuals, the immunity is inadequate and clinically active disease develops, which is known as progressive primary disease. So post-primary TB is reactivation of a latent infection and causing 5% of infected patients. So primary, progressive primary, and post-primary TB. Next is the on chest X-ray post-primary TB. The hallmark is cavitation. The hallmark of post-primary TB is the presence of cavitation. Okay. And miliary TB, we can see multiple nodules, multiple small nodules in the chest X-ray. So this is the feature of a miliary. So miliary name also comes from millet. So millets are 2 to 3 mm sized grains. Everyone knows. So miliary opacity also appear as multiple 2 to 3 mm sized nodules in the chest X-ray. So we can see here. So what we should remember is the hallmark of the post-primary TB is the presence of the cavitation. So we can see in this X-ray, we can see inhomogeneous opacity in the left upper zone with fluffy margins. Inhomogeneous opacity in the left upper zone also, here also, in the middle zone, left middle zone. And we can see inhomogeneous opacity in the right upper zone, in the apical region with central lucency. This is the cavity. So in summary, there is presence of multiple consolidations in the left upper and middle zone with a cavity in the right upper zone. So this was a case of tuberculosis, active tuberculosis. Next, tuberculosis may also present with multiple nodules. So there are multiple scattered nodules in the both lungs. Some of the nodules are coalescing here to form areas of consolidation. Okay, this is also a typical presentation of tuberculosis in the chest X-ray. And next is the miliary TB. So you can see multiple small nodules, 2 to 3 mm nodules scattered all over the chest. So this was the case of miliary tuberculosis. Besides this, we can also see the presence of consolidation in the peripheral aspect of the lung. Okay. So coming to the next is the next thing we can see in the chest X-ray is the lucencies in the lung. So lucencies maybe there are different types of lucencies. The most important lucencies are the cavity, bulla, and abscess. Okay. So cavity has appreciable wall with more than 3 mm. So 3 is very important number in radiology. So cavity has walls thickness of more than 3 mm. And bulla has no appreciable wall. So it is very hairline thin wall. Sometimes it is not appreciable, sometimes it is appreciable, but it is hairline thin, but cavity has 3 mm thickness wall. And cavity may be benign or malignant. So cavity may be benign in case of infection and malignant in case of cavitary malignancy. So in case of infection, the wall is thin and regular, while in case of malignancy, the wall is thick and irregular nodular appearance. So this way cavity can be categorized. And bulla has no appreciable wall, and cavity, when there is presence of air fluid level, then that is a most likely an abscess. So we can see there is a appreciable wall, lucent lesion in the right middle zone, predominantly in the middle zone, with appreciable wall and with presence of air fluid level. So when there is presence of air fluid level, it is an abscess. And here we can see there is lucent lesion in the right upper and middle zone with a hairline thin wall. So the wall is very hairline thin. So this is a bulla. And in this opacity, in this chest X-ray, we can see that there is a presence of cavitary lesion in the right lower zone with thick and irregular nodular wall. So there is thickness, wall is very thick, and there is nodule also present in the wall. So this is the case of cavitary malignancy. Okay, this way we can differentiate the different types of cavity. Thank you. So do you have any questions?